So B backyard chilling. I'm feeling a little bad right now. I'm feeling bad because I'm getting a couple comments and people are kind of getting a little worried about the things I'm sharing about IR. They're a little worried about it, like, is this the right choice? And I kind of hate when I do that because sometimes I try to keep it real. I like to disclose the good and the bad. And I think I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't disclose the good and the bad of working with interventional. And that's the thing, is that when I discuss some of the non-ideal portions of IR, people get scared, especially when they're younger and they're trying to figure out their career and they think, well, maybe IR is not the way to go. And I'm not trying to say that. I don't want people to get that reaction that, oh, maybe I shouldn't do IR because, Sorrel is having a tough time out there, or whatever, because that's not what it is. Ultimately, I came to this realization, and it's taken some time, and I haven't been out for a long time, but I came to this realization. It took several months, or maybe at least a year, for me to figure this out. And there's this idea that the cases, the complexity, and the high levelness of the cases is what makes people happy. You see people online posting these intense, complex cases that are interesting, or people think they're interesting. They bill a lot of dollars through Medicare, so they're highly reimbursing, and they seem challenging, and they seem difficult, and they seem fun. And people get this idea that in order to have a good career, that I have to do these highly complex, highly challenging cases, and the more of those I do, the better I'm going to feel, the happier I'm going to be. And I wish I could tell you that you have to find it out for yourself. That's the thing. Once you start to do those cases, you'll realize that those cases do not bring you happiness, no matter how many of them you do. People want to talk about, doing Y90 and doing, atherectomy in the lower extremities, and they think that this is what's going to bring them happiness and satisfaction in their career. And try doing 3 Y90s a day for a whole year, and see if Y90 gives you the same pleasure that you thought it would. And I think what it comes down to is that you can't expect the cases to bring you happiness. You can't let the cases define who you are. Trust me, I came to that realization. There was a time that I was very, very hungry to do cases. And it was basically right after fellowship. And it's not just me. Anybody that comes right out of fellowship is very, very, very hungry to do cases. And once you get some cases under your belt, you realize that hunger really had nothing to do with the cases. That hunger came from somewhere else. In order to quench that hunger, it's not just cases, and it's not just volumes, and it's not just even making money that makes that hunger go away. It's something else. It's finding something, it's looking deep inside and finding something that truly gives you pleasure, and exploring that. And in fact, I'll tell you what, I'm doing that right now. What I really enjoy doing is just sharing what's going on inside of my mind in a decent and interesting way. And actually, that's what gives me the most pleasure. That's what gives me the most satisfaction. And that's the thing that, to me, I really like to focus on, is just trying to share those internal states, as kind of tumultuous and as kind of unstable as they are, trying to share those internal states so people can understand them and sort of gain that complexity in their mind. Don't think that IR is all one thing. IR is not all low-level cases. IR is not all high-level cases. IR is very site-specific. There's going to be people that are doing a lot of one thing in one area, and there's going to be people doing a lot of another thing in another area. And don't think that someone else's experience is going to be your experience. Your experience is going to be what you make of it. If you want to focus on low-level procedures, you'll end up doing low-level procedures. If you want to focus on so-called high-level procedures, you'll end up doing high-level procedures. If you want to do a mix of diagnostic and IR, you'll do a mix of diagnostic and IR. If you want to become a solo IR trailblazer doing locums opportunities as you see fit, that's what you'll become. And if you chase a directorship position, you will find one. All right. IR is what you make it. whatever I'm doing, don't let that influence you that harshly. If you want to do high-level complex procedures, you can do it in IR, you can do it in interventional cardiology, you can do it in vascular surgery. What I'm just trying to share is that right now there are some difficulties in IR, and I'm trying to share those. I'm sure there's difficulties in other specialties as well, and you got to find the people that are willing to share those difficulties with you as well. And then you got to make your decision. Have no regrets. I have absolutely no regrets of what I'm doing, and all the challenges have only made me a little bit stronger, a little bit sharper, a little bit more nuanced in my thinking. That's all it's done. It hasn't. It's beaten me down, but I've been able to bounce back up, and that's what it's about. Yeah, don't think that the cases will bring you happiness, because in the end, that is not what brings you happiness. Only you can truly look inside and figure it out what it is that brings you happiness, and you got to focus on that. That's what I'm doing.